Most people look at the absolute peak of human success and call it luck, talent, or genetic destiny. They look at the industry titan, the gold medalist, the legendary creator, and assume some hidden force handed them the keys to the kingdom. But that is a coping mechanism, a story carefully constructed by the mind to justify mediocrity. The reality is far more clinical, far more ruthless, and entirely predictable. Winning is not a random lightning strike. It is a biological, psychological, and philosophical system. It is a machine engineered within the human mind. And today, we are going to tear that machine apart to see exactly how it works. To truly understand the mind of a winner, we have to start where everything begins. The cold, hard laws of biology. In evolutionary science, there is a heavily documented phenomenon known as the winner effect. When an organism wins a confrontation, a physical transformation occurs inside its body. Its brain undergoes a massive chemical restructuring. Testosterone levels surge. The density of dopamine receptors in the brain increases dramatically. This biological shift alters the organism's perception of risk, heightens its cognitive processing speed, and increases its pain tolerance. Statistically, an individual who has just won a battle is overwhelmingly more likely to win the next one, regardless of the opponent's actual strength. Winning literally alters your physical chemistry to make you a more lethal competitor. The amateur looks at this law of nature and feels trapped, believing they need a massive victory to kickstart the cycle. The winner understands the strategic bypass. The brain cannot distinguish between a massive cosmic victory and a small, deeply disciplined internal win. When you wake up when you said you would, when you execute your deep work without reaching for your phone, when you master your impulses in the small moments, you trigger the exact same neurological cascade. You are hacking the winner effect by stacking micro-wins throughout your day. You are engineering a high dopamine, high testosterone neurological framework before you ever step onto the actual battlefield. You are training your brain to expect victory as its baseline reality. This leads us directly into the fundamental philosophy of the elite, the total rejection of the external world as an excuse. In psychology, this is known as maintaining an uncompromising internal locus of control. The average person operates on an external locus. If they fail, it was the market, the weather, the algorithm, their upbringing, or their boss. They project responsibility outward, which instantly strips them of their power. If the world is responsible for your failure, then the world controls your destiny. A winner assumes radical, almost terrifying accountability for everything that happens in their life. If the project fails, they didn't communicate clearly enough. If the market crashes, they weren't adaptable enough. They adopt the ancient Stoic framework of amor fati, the love of fate. They do not merely tolerate adversity, they actively crave it, because they know that friction is the only mechanism that generates strength. In the mind of a winner, an obstacle is not a barrier that stops the journey. The obstacle is the raw material used to build the path, but philosophy without strategy is just delusion. The strategic mind of a winner is rooted in the mathematical reality of the Pareto principle and the law of aggressive prioritization. The world is filled with infinite noise, endless low-value tasks and trivial distractions. The average person scatters their energy in 1,000 different directions, achieving a millimeter of progress in each. A winner identifies the single most critical lever, the 20% of actions that yield 80% of the results, and applies absolute crushing force to that single point until it breaks. They combine this with the strategy of inversion. Instead of merely asking how to win, they look at the problem backward. They ask, what are the exact actions, habits, and mindsets that would guarantee my failure? What would guarantee That I stay broke, distracted, weak, and miserable? They map out the path to destruction with absolute clarity, and then they ruthlessly, systematically eliminate those behaviors from their life. By avoiding the catastrophic mistakes that sink 99% of people, they effortlessly drift to the top. Nature also teaches us the law of compounding returns. And a winner respects this law above all else. They do not chase overnight miracles or get blinded by the illusion of sudden fame. They understand that a 1% improvement every single day does not add up linearly. It compounds exponentially. If you get 1% better every day for a year, you do not become 365% better. Mathematically, you become 37 times more capable than when you started. The mind of a winner is obsessed with the unglamorous, boring, repetitive execution of fundamentals when nobody is watching, because they understand that greatness is nothing more than the daily accumulation of mundane tasks performed at an extraordinary standard. However, the absolute differentiator, the variable that separates the good from the legendary, is how a winner manages pain and handles the abyss of failure. The human brain is naturally wired for homeostasis. It wants comfort, safety, and predictability. When the cognitive load becomes too heavy, when fatigue sets in, or when a massive defeat occurs, the primitive brain screams at you to retreat, to quit, to protect your ego. The winner has mastered the art of cognitive decoupling. They separate their identity from their immediate emotions. When they feel tired, lazy, or defeated, they observe those feelings from a distance, as if they belong to someone else. They treat their emotions as data, not as directives. They understand that the moment of intense discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is the exact geographical boundary where their old self ends and their evolved self begins. They don't negotiate with themselves when they are tired. They don't consult their feelings to decide whether they are going to do the work. The decision was already made in a state of clarity. The execution is non-negotiable. When a winner experiences a massive defeat, they do not experience an identity crisis. To the average person, failure means, I am a failure. To a winner, failure simply means the current strategy did not work. They view failure the exact same way a scientist views a failed laboratory experiment. It is not an emotional tragedy, it is valuable data, feedback telling them exactly what to adjust, what to fix, and where the weakness lies. They optimize, they recalibrate, and they return to the arena with superior intelligence. True winning has absolutely nothing to do with competing against other people. Competing against others is a low-level game because it caps your potential at the level of your surroundings. The mind of a winner is locked in a relentless internal war against their own genetic limitations, their own weakness, their own capacity for laziness. It is the total obsessive elimination of the gap between who they currently are and what they are capable of becoming. If you want to step into this tier of existence, the transformation must happen right now in the silence of your own mind. Drop the narrative that you are, waiting for the right moment, the right resources, or the perfect spark of inspiration. The universe does not reward inspiration. It rewards relentless strategic momentum. Define the absolute highest standard of discipline you can conceive of. Adopt total accountability for your current position. Start stacking the microscopic wins today. Build the psychological machine that expects victory. Refuse to negotiate with your feelings. Become entirely undeniable.